In The Birth of Tragedy, German thinker Friedrich Nietzsche introduces an interpretive framework with which we might view a piece of art. It's based off of the Apollonian and the Dionysian. Oh, Apollo and Dionysus, two sons of Zeus. They represent the opposing values of the rational, the ideal form, knowledge, truth with a capital T, represented by god of the sun, Apollo. Contrasted with the chaotic, the earthly, the erotic, personified by Dionysus, god of harvest, of wine, of partying, of song and ecstasy. Together, the values of silence and dynamism. Throughout all my work, be it painting or video or clay or even text, I've been trying to figure out how these two aspects both oppose and clarify one another. How sometimes, in order for something to be made all the more rational, it needs to be subjected to a certain chaotic formalism. How sometimes mystery and obscurity are secretly the most rational path. Oh, huzzah. Oh, there we go. In my very personal interpretation of Nietzsche's formulation in regards to these paintings and their pottery siblings, my aim is to create a choreography out of the push and the pull between the Apollonian and the Dionysian. The dance, enacted by the marks and the spaces created between the marks. Of the moments of rest, punctuated by the moments of activity. The way the flowers float and fly and shimmer with activity. And yet they're pulled back, they're grounded and embodied by the physical pots. Yet simultaneously, the pots are transmitting themselves from paint into clay. From clay into paint. To dance is to become fully embodied, centered as an Apollonian subject. And yet, you are ecstatic. You are beside yourself. You are both the flower and the pot. And yet, I don't want to dance all alone. This interpretive framework that I employ cannot be the only one. It would indeed be a betrayal of the dichotomy of these two aspects if I were to say that mine and mine alone is the proper way to look at art. I want an interpretive framework that has built into it a plurality, that would be truly incomplete without a plurality. It takes two to tango, as it were, and my understanding of my own work is but one. I don't think any speech act, any documentary film, any poem, any knowledge fair presentation could ever possibly say everything that there is to say about any given subject. It is through the participation of the viewer, of the listener, that allows them to enter into the intellectual and emotional choreography. That is the actual piece. Consider, if you will, the Bhagavad Gita, in which Krishna tells Arjuna, fear is born of duality. When I say my understanding is only one, I mean to say that it is only one in relation to the possibility of another. I don't want to mistake its relation as against another. Indeed, I want it to enter into a kinship with other interpretations, where the two only appear as separate. It is through this process of participation that allows the viewer and the piece to become merged. A new meaning arises out of this dance between the piece and the viewer. It is only when we are attached to one specific framework of legitimization that fear begins to taint us. Additionally, an artwork that acknowledges only one aspect, that privileges the Dionysian over the Apollonian, or the Apollonian over the Dionysian, is a piece made with fear echoing through it. It is only through the unification of these two supposedly opposing ideas that a piece of art can be made without fear. Krishna tells Arjuna that the key is to not see the duality as two separate values, but to transcend it and see it that it is actually a unified framework that has a plurality of possibilities contained within it. It is by our embracing of the other that allows us to create without fear. And a piece naturally has these two aspects, upholding one another. Because to create without fear is to tap into the deepest expression of pure consciousness. And when one taps into that deep pool of creative intelligence, one finds Apollo and Dionysus, silence and dynamism. They're already down there, and they're inviting you onto the dance floor with them. They're welcoming you in, not as two opposed, but as one simple everything. Thank you.